Captain Mike's Rigging Station. Powered by Florida Sport Fishing TV.
What's up, guys, and welcome to my rigging station. Hey, today we are going to talk about reef fishing here in the lower Florida Keys. And remember, Captain Mike's Rigging Station, this is where it all happens. In advance of every episode of Florida Sport Fishing TV, we spend a tremendous amount of time down here prepping, because I'll tell you what, proper preparation is absolutely vital to your success on the water, regardless if you're targeting sailfish or snapper. Florida Keys patch reefs, man, this is just an absolute mecca, all the way from Key Biscayne to the dry Tortugas. Down here in the Florida Keys, we have the third largest reef system in the entire world, short of only Australia and Brazil. And it's the largest coral reef system in the United States of America. It's home to over 500 species of fish. So talk about paradise, right? What makes it even better is it's just so easily accessible to boaters of all sizes and skill level, and anglers of all skill levels. You know, these patch reefs that we're going to be fishing here in the lower Florida Keys, they're literally 3 or 4 miles off the beach. Very, very easy to get to. I've seen guys out there in kayaks and wave runners fishing, believe it or not, all the way on up to full-blown sport fish yachts. So I don't care what kind of boat you have, you can get in on this fishing. And certainly it's the most popular venue down here in the Keys. So many people travel to the Keys to go yellowtail fishing, mangrove snapper fishing, all sorts of targets on these patch reefs, and for good reason. It is home, as I mentioned, to so many different species. But there's so much reef, so many different fish, so many different techniques. How do you get dialed in, right? How do you really get dialed in? How do you prepare properly when you just don't know what's gonna happen, you know? So I wanna walk you through it. I wanna walk you through step by step, piece by piece of tackle as to what we do to prep for these reef fishing trips, because I just don't know what I'm gonna encounter. Here it is. End of the winter season. There's a lot of different opportunities on these patch reefs. And like I said, I just don't know what I'm gonna find when I get out there tomorrow. Now, understand, you've gotta have the right mindset, right? Look, are you looking for quantity, small yellowtails, small Spanish mackerel, or are you looking for quality? Mutton snappers, groupers, all of this stuff lives on the reefs, and we're fishing shallow water. 30 feet, give or take, that's where these patch reefs are. Okay, a little bit shallower, even 20, 25 feet, all the way on out to maybe 38 to 40 feet. And don't make the mistake of thinking you can't catch big fish in shallow water. It took me a while to understand that when I first relocated down here to the Keys, but it's vital. There are really big fish that roam these reefs simply because of the abundant forage, right? So again, I'm gonna keep it simple, I'm gonna keep it straightforward, but I'm gonna be rigged and ready for everything. And again, I'm gonna walk you through it. First of all is the boat. Remember, plenty of safety equipment, fuel, couple of anchors, chummy hoop for your chum bag. You need some basic essentials to make sure that you're dialed in. Plenty of chum, you know, plan on going through a 7-pound block of chum every 30 to 60 minutes, depending on the current. So have plenty of chum. When it comes to bait, that's vital. We fish 2 primary baits when we are reef fishing. Pinfish, which we catch in our own pinfish traps, either fish them live, sometimes we'll cut them in half or even in thirds, and then ballyhoo. And we'll catch the ballyhoo on scene with the ballyhoop. It couldn't even, you know, it just couldn't be any easier. So those are the 2 primary baits that we fish. Certainly artificial lures play a role, but not really. You know, this reef fishing, it's really a natural bait kind of gig, okay? So we're gonna get to the area that we're gonna fish. We use Seymour on our Furuno TZ Touch Network. We find sharp ledges and drop-offs because, again, there is so many patch reefs, so how do you locate or how do you dial in the ones that you want to fish? Look for 90-degree angles, look for sharp ledges, like I said, drop-offs, adjacent to maybe some open sandy areas. That's where these snappers are going to be roaming, that's where they're going to be hiding. You can fish year-round. Everybody seems to have a favorite time of the year to reef fish, but it's a year-round fishery. That's one of the most exciting things about it. I don't care, what time of the year it is. You can get out here and put a catch together. It's a great opportunity when the wind is blowing and you can't get offshore, or if you've got kids or novices, or if you're just looking to put some meat on the table. So many different chances, and I'll tell you what, I love it for one. Hey guys, I'm Captain Mike and welcome to my rigging station. You've asked over and over, here's the answer. Tube row fishing. 4 different styles of rod and reel holder mounts for every application. Their ingenious lure and leader keeper system is perfect, either permanently mounted or portable. It keeps everything I need right at my fingertips so I can focus on staying hooked up. Listen, I count on Dubro products, so should you. Check out their full line of innovative gear at dubrofishing.com.
For over 80 years, Furuno Innovations have helped more fishermen find and catch more fish than any other brand. And we're raising the bar again with Navnet's Easy Touch 3's new PVG and Fish It Drifted technologies. Build your own 3-dimensional shaded relief charts to find trophy fish others have missed. Perform accurate drifts the first time, every time. Be the one everyone follows. When you're serious about fishing, lead the way and get serious with Furuno.
Chaos. Gear matters.
Oh my God!
Shot another one. Doubled up.
Mutton.
Nice. That right there, baby, is deep dropping.
Chaos. Gear matters. Shop online or visit our new superstore for everything fishing.
Deep Glow outshines the competition. With a robust housing, durable glass dome, and stainless steel hardware, Deep Glow lights are the toughest, brightest, and easiest to install. Throw them in, plug them in, and let the show begin. I've literally created my own feeding frenzy. Residential or commercial 1 or 50 lights, Deep Glow increases property values, creates loyal customers to waterfront businesses, and provides years of trouble-free service. Tell them Captain Mike sent you and receive a free timer. Whenever you're reef fishing, I don't care if it's off Key Largo or Key West, in order to have a successful day, you need some moving water. I mean, think about it. If you've got current and your chum is flowing off the back of the boat, it's just going to create this massive slick. Everything's going to get a whiff of it, swim up the slick, and it's just a matter of time before you get tight. If you have no current, it's all just going to sink straight below the boat, and you're not going to create that long spread, okay, that long chum slick. So current is vital. And if the current is flowing in the same direction that the wind is blowing, well, you're in for some hot action, because that sets the stage for ideal conditions. You don't want the current and the wind to be opposing. Then what happens is your chum and your baits go under the boat, and it becomes quite challenging. If you can't find any current, or if you anchor up in a spot and there's no current at all, gosh, I got to tell you, pick up and move. Do yourself a favor. Pick up and move, because you really need that moving water. It is that important to a successful day on the reef. Now, understand, I'm really not excited about the small 12 to 14-inch yellowtail snapper. If that's the only thing that's biting on the reef, well, of course, putting together a limit catch might be what you want to do, just so you can bring home some fresh fish for dinner, but that isn't really what excites me. I try and focus on the bigger stuff, the bigger mangrove snappers, potentially a trophy mutton, because again, 20-pound mutton snappers, 30-inch muttons will swim in 30 feet of water, okay? Black groupers, let me tell you, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds in that depth of water as well. But you got to be ready for it, okay? You really do. On other occasions, the fish are going to be higher up in the water column. Cirro mackerel are a favorite target, especially this time of the year. Great to eat, hard fighters, often abundant, but there's also big king mackerel that roam the reef higher in the water column, yellow jacks, cobia, you just never know. A buddy of mine just got a beautiful African pompano, 30-pound African pompano in 28 feet of water, so you never know what's going to eat your bait. So we start off with some 7-foot, 6-inch spinning outfits, okay? This is just a Chaos Gold 8 to 17 pound class spinner. We use it for so many different fisheries. It's matched to a Shimano Stratic 4000. Plenty of line capacity. Not that I need it in this venue because I'm fishing relatively shallow water, but remember, a 30-pound king mackerel is a possibility. A big cobia, they're gonna smoke you, so you really need to have some ample line capacity. 12-pound, here it is right here, 12-pound diamond high catch in the super clear. Everything on the Patch Reefs has phenomenal eyesight. The water's generally really, really clear, so you don't want to fish a high visibility type of line. You don't want something in that orange crush or the chartreuse that's super clear. Right there in the 12-pound test is absolutely perfect on our lighter outfits. We never tie that right to the terminal tackle. We always add a length of diamond fluorocarbon leader material, in this case 20-pound. So we go 12-pound from the Stratic 4000, 12-pound test to the 20-pound leader, at least 20 feet. At least 20 feet of the fluorocarbon. And then here you can see I just have a little VMC 5.0 live bait hook. That's all that is on a short trace of American fishing wire, 44-pound test. That's just in case there's any mackerel in the slick, okay? Any Ceros or Kings, I can throw a bait out there and just have a ball catching those mackerel on a light spinning rod. Really, really effective. We bring a couple of these. Then in addition to that, we also have the same outfit rigged with that same 12-pound test, same 20-pound leader with just a small 1.0 or 2.0 VMC Sure Set circle hook. That's all there is to it. You cannot get any stealthier than this, and there are times when you need that stealth. The water is crystal clear. Maybe there isn't a lot of current. Maybe the fish are being super finicky, okay? And you need to go really, really stealthy. Episode. We talked a lot about tackle, a lot about finding these fish, staying on them. Got it. All right, all right. Nice job.
What a fish.
Oh, yeah, that's a fat one right there. That's what we want. Oh, nice one. Look at that one. Got it. Nice.
That's a tuna.
That's what it's all about right there. Oh, my God. That's what I'm talking about. Don't even lift and pump, just reel. Just reel. All right, come on, come on. Somebody get in there, get in there. Crank, 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 crank. Got him, got him, got him. We got him. You ready? Nice. You got him. Get him in the boat, ready? Oh! Flip it onto your rod. Never jeopardize losing a rod, ever. From there, we step it up, okay? We step it up because, again, we're targeting those larger fish that are gonna be on or near the bottom. So we go to a 6'6" spinner. This is actually a jigging rod. Doesn't matter, it's a great rod for this application. It's on a Toray carbon fiber blank, and we match it to a Shimano Twin Power 5000. Little workhorse, we're targeting bigger fish here. On the bottom, we need more stopping power. We don't want them to get us rocked up. We don't want them to chafe against the bottom because that spells disaster. 20-pound diamond braid, the dark green, really stealthy on the reel, but once again, I have to stress, we add that fluorocarbon leader. In this particular case, 30-pound fluorocarbon leader, and we go to a jig head. Now, I have to stress, right here, this is your savior. This is everything you need for successful patchery fishing. Stay away from all of that fancy schmancy terminal tackle, fish finder rigs. You're asking for trouble. You're gonna get hung up. You're gonna go through a lot of terminal tackle. Jig heads, that's all that you need. It's a staple down here. They sell them in 3 colors, the 3 best colors. Chartreuse, the pink, and the white, and they all work equally as well. Some guys have a favorite. For me, I can't seem to notice a difference. They all work really well. It's like a boxing glove style jig. Here's a larger one, give you a better view, and you can see it sits on the bottom just like that, in that orientation with the hookup. Fish comes along, boom, sucks down that bait, and you're setting up and you're tight. Really important to remember, look, these jigs come in a lot of different sizes, right? We've got 1 ounce is our largest size, and it has a relatively large hook, and that's what's really important. When those groupers and the mutton snappers are on the reef, that's the type of jig that you want to fish. Maybe go down to a 3/4 ounce jig. Also has a large hook, and then as you start to scale down, and we go to a 5/8 or even a 1/2 ounce jig, the hooks progressively get smaller. So that's what really separates these jigs, is not only the weight, but the size and the strength of the hook is also something to make note of. And you don't know what you're gonna need on any given day, so I'll tell you what, you better bring a bunch of them. Bring a bunch of fluorocarbon leader, bring some extra wire leader, you just don't know what you're gonna need. Now understand, once we get set up, we're anchored, we're chumming, all the yellowtails, maybe there's some parrotfish in the slick, but all of the life is building. That's the point that I'm making. Let it build, be patient. Patient, the fish aren't going anywhere. You showed up with food, they got a whiff of it, they're not leaving. So just be patient. Let it build and build and build. Give it at least 15 minutes before you even put a bait in the water. And then just slowly start to fish 1 line, then a 2nd line, maybe 3 at the very most, no more than that, or you're gonna spook everything around. We start by targeting the fish that are higher up in the water column, you know, just to have a little bit of action. Then we back off and we just let it build and build, because we know that those bigger mangroves, the mutton snappers, potentially a grouper, they're gonna be down deep. They are down deep, they're on the bottom, they're waiting for prey, they're waiting for morsels to come through this, you know, through the water column. They're not picking off the little tidbits coming out of the chum bag like the yellowtail are. A 5 to 8 pound snapper, a 20-pound mutton, a big grouper is not gonna make a living eating crumbs. He's looking for that meal. He wants that whole live pinfish. He wants you know, a big fresh ballyhoo. Give him something to eat, and he wants it sitting right on the bottom. Okay, so that's why, again, we fish the jig heads. We're not feeding the water, or we're not feeding the bait through the water column. We're dropping it straight down, holding the rod in our hand, and waiting for that thump, okay? Now, our 3rd and final outfit, and this is perhaps the most important one if you're serious about targeting these bigger fish. This, once again, is just a jigging rod, 6'6", got a lot of backbone, and it's matched to the Shimano Twin Power 8000. Larger reel, 30-pound braid, again, 30-pound fluorocarbon leader, larger jig head, the 5/8 ounce jig head in this case, which does have that little bit of a beefier hook. And once again, I'm gonna drop that bait right to the bottom. The bail is closed. My finger's on the line. I'm not gonna allow that fish to eat that bait and run 20 or 30 feet before I set back. He's gonna get me under a ledge. He's gonna wrap the line around a rock, a piece of coral, and it's gonna be lights out, okay? So I drop it down, I feel that thump, and I believe that that fish inhaled that bait. I'm setting back, and I'm setting back hard. I wanna immediately put tremendous pressure and heat on that fish to get him up off the bottom, and this is the outfit that we do it with. Fresh bait is vital in today's highly pressured fisheries, and no one makes it easier to catch live bait than the ballyhoop. With a complete line of collapsible hoop nets and accessories, the Ballyhoop is a must-have for every angler. Simply deploy the Ballyhoop and watch the magic. With the Ballyhoop, catching live bait is clean, fast, and simple. Ask for the Ballyhoop at your local tackle shop or visit us online to find a dealer near you. Seeing Zach attack with my own eyes, I'll never pull another trolling lure. A couple key points that I want you to take away from this. The bait. I cannot stress enough how important fresh bait is. Don't show up with that frozen stuff. It's mushy. You're not going to catch anything. The bait's going to fall off the hook. If anything, just a little fish are going to pick at it. Don't show up with the frozen bait. Please do me a favor. Spend the time to procure live and fresh bait. The two choices that I mentioned earlier, we put in the pinfish traps. We use the regular ground chum in the pinfish traps. A lot of guys say, what do you use to catch the pinfish? It's regular chum. We don't put fish carcasses in there because that attracts other snappers, eels, crabs, and when all of that stuff gets into that pinfish trap, guess who doesn't come in is the pinfish. So chum is really the only thing that you need. 3 to 5 feet of water on the grass beds anywhere here on the Atlantic side or the Gulf side of the Keys, and you should have no problem loading up on pins. The ballyhoo, once again, once you're anchored up and chumming, it shouldn't take long for those ballyhoo to show up in the slick. We deploy the ballyhoo, we leave it out. Let it become part of the environment. The ballyhoo will get used to it, and then we simply pull it in, scoop up a handful of ballyhoo at a time. That's all that we need. I don't need to throw a cast net and spook everything in sight in an attempt to catch 100 ballyhoo. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm fishing them one at a time, okay, or maybe even half of a ballyhoo. So for me, the ballyhoop is just ideal. The chum we talked about, I can't stress enough, and start chumming before you even anchor. Remember, bring ample chum. Put a bag in the chummy hoop, hang it over the side of the boat, do a couple of figure eights, a couple of circles around the area that you want to fish before you even drop that anchor. Get that odor, get that scent, get that slick going. Okay, it's just going to save you some time and energy. Be careful where you anchor. You don't want to damage the vital, fragile coral reef. Okay, it's already under enough stress. Do your very best to drop an anchor in a sandy area. Look, you could see the sand. You could visually see it. Okay, you could see it on your Seymour, on the Furuno screen, you could see it. Okay, drop the anchor in the sand, have plenty of anchor line, and just come drifting back. Get on the leading edge of the structure that you want to fish. I cannot stress this enough. If the area that I want to fish is behind the boat, I want to stop right here and have my chum flowing over these ledges, these coral outcroppings, these patch reefs. That's where I want my chum to flow, and obviously to bring the fish to me. If I set the boat up too far back on the back edge, I'm gonna miss all this prime real estate. My chum's gonna flow off the back, and I'm just gonna miss all of this. So proper positioning is everything. If you don't end up where you thought you would once you drop that anchor, pick it up and drop it again. Do it as many times as you have to until you get it right. Because I'm telling you what, just like with real estate, when it comes to successful patch reef fishing, it's all about location, location, location. The current and the wind, we discussed, if they're both flowing in the same direction, you hit the jackpot. If you can't find that, move, run 3 miles down the reef, either east or west, depending on whichever direction you'd like to go in, okay? Move and try and find some better conditions, because it does make that big of a difference. Fish the water column. If you want to fish closer to the surface, you can fish for those yellowtails. You want to fish on the bottom, like we talked about, with some larger baits for the mangroves and the muttons. That's really what I enjoy. But be prepared for it. Don't drop your yellowtail rod. Don't take this spinner and think you're going to land a 20-pound mutton snapper on this outfit. Can it happen? Yes. Are you capable of making it happen? I hope so, but I'll tell you what, you really need to be very lucky. Chances are on a 12-pound outfit, you're just not going to cut it. You don't have enough beef to stop a big mutton or a grouper. You need something heavier. So be prepared. You know, again, don't be afraid to drop a big bait on a big rod down to the bottom in shallow water, because that's where the sea monsters are. They're down there, right there. They're underneath all of that other stuff. You see all of the small stuff on top. You don't see the big stuff on the bottom. And if you have fished these patch reefs before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Remember, I don't care where you are, all the way off of, Key Biscayne, all the way Key Largo, Isle Morada, Marathon, Big Pine. There are awesome patch reefs everywhere along the Florida Keys Island chain. We are going to be fishing the lower Florida Keys off of Cudjoe, Summerlin, Big Pine on the eastern side. So a lot of really good bottom, not a lot of pressure, and hopefully we can find the right conditions. If not, we're going to pick up and move. Finally, don't let angler and tackle failure enter the equation. We fish long leaders because after every fish, we're constantly feeling that line. If it's chafed, if it's nicked, if it's abraded, we cut it, we retie it. Don't be that guy who says, oh, I'll fix it the next time, because you know what's going to happen? Zing, pow! And that's it. There goes what could have been a monster fish. So don't make that mistake. Enjoy yourself. Be methodical with your approach. Take your time. Do it slowly, but do it right, and you'll stay tight.
Connect with the crew on Instagram at Florida Sport Fishing TV. Catch our extreme seminar series at www.fsftv.com and get hooked up.